G'day guys, how you doing? Welcome to another Zed Run update. Let me just check everything's working okay and share it. Working. Testing, testing. Can you hear me? I got 3 viewers. Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know. Oh yeah. Testing, testing. Can you hear me? I got 3 viewers. Sounds okay, guys. Sounds okay. Big thumbs up. We'll get into it in a minute. We're going to be talking about the strongest breeding pattern to date, with breeding coming in the next few days. I want to share with you a theory that I've had nearly since the beginning, since very early days, and it's really starting to show up with a real strength. Let me just share this over across to the main forum. A shout out, say hello. We got Michelle here. Good to have you here, Michelle. Discord. Okay, guys, I'll be with you in a moment. Be with you in a moment. Lucky Jack's here. You like the shirt, mate? Yeah. Thank you. Here we go. One second, guys. Let me just send this off. See if we can get some more viewers with us here rather than, who have we got? We got one. Might be just me and you, Lucky Jack. All right, that should bring in a couple more. That should bring in a couple more. I really should set an actual time for this, shouldn't I? I really should. But anyway, whatever. We're going to be breedings coming out this week, hopefully, or maybe early next week. We don't really know. We haven't been given official word, but there is a really, really strong pattern, and that's what we're going to be. Oh, Michelle, you're still here too. Okay, cool. We got 4 viewers. Give me a shout out. The other 2 viewers. We got 1 like and 4 viewers. Come on, guys. Let's get that ratio up. Jacuzzi. As you know, I'm terrible at reading names and whatnot, so sorry if I mispronounce anyone's name. Welcome. We got 5. Let's go. We will just have a chit chat around. Normally, I would pre-record these styles of videos where I've actually got a specific topic to talk on, but I thought we would try it with questions as we go, which might be more interesting and take us down various rabbit holes. The Druid. Hey mate, how are ya? Good to have you here. 7 viewers, 3 likes. Joseph, East Coast Stables checking in. I got me a cup of tea here, so it's only fairly early in the morning. Well, not fairly early in the morning. It's 10 past 8 a.m. here in Paradise, Australia. And we'll get started in a moment. We will get started in a moment with what I believe is the strongest indication of good breeding to date. It's very specific and it's working really well. Doofy, the king of Zed Run, is here. Welcome, Doofy. Good to have you, mate. Congrats on the recent wedding and whatnot. Hopefully it all went well, mate. John, here to learn how to breed mutants. Don't let me down. Is it 10 past 11 your time, mate, is it? Where you at, John? Is that somewhere in the USA? Which coast? Middle coast? I don't know the time zones well enough. Good stuff, mate. Good stuff, Doofy. All right, well, we're going to get started in a moment. Oh, Liverpool, UK. Good to have you here, mate. The mother country, the motherland. We'll get started in a minute. I'll throw this question out to you. Early days, what similarities or what patterns do you think we might be able to see with horses like Pinkman, Atari, Queen, Alabaster Lily? And there's one other that I want to talk about as well, which is really, really interesting. Do you guys, Doofy may already know what patterns are there. We're going to have Doofy on, and I'll have to get Lucky Jack on here too. Maybe we'll have a conference YouTube call via Skype. How about that? That'd be fun, hey? Question and answers. Oh, the Druid. You got an offspring of Insane Him. He's throwing a couple of good ones. He's got two that I know of that are really good in Insane Mirage, and then down the line further, which came from Insane Mirage, we have Stargirl. And in fact, I'll add Stargirl to that list. She is another great example of what I'm talking about today. Another one. 100% Lucky Jack, let's do it. All right, guys, we have a huge 12. That's enough to get going because this will be a good video to rewatch again later because it is a specific Zed Run topic on breeding. And what we're talking about today is stacked knacks. All right, remember that? Stacked knacks. That is the similarity or the pattern that is within Pinkman, Atari, Stargirl, Alabaster Lily, Queen, and probably a few other really strong races. And if you haven't been around Zed Run for a great deal of time, you may not know these names as tried and true races within the ecosystem, but they're some of the best races in the ecosystem, and they're absolutely some of the best bred horse races in the ecosystem, which is mostly dominated by Genesis currently, because I guess that's probably what's racing for the most part. But those races, Pinkman, if you haven't come across Pinkman, well, you're doing pretty well, but Pinkman, Atari, who else have we got? Queen, Alabaster Lily, and Stargirl are all stacked knacks. Stacked knacks. Keep your eye on that. Let's have a look at what I'm talking about. G'day Sin, how you doing? Good to have you here as well. Let's look up some of these races. Let's start with the best of best. And look, I've touched on this before, the importance of stacked knacks, and it's been one of my theories. It's been one of my theories of holding horses at the exclusive level and stacking bloodlines on top of each other. Stacking, stacking, stacking. And early days it wasn't really tested, but now, as more of these horses are being proven, there is a distinct pattern there, or a distinct advantage seemingly coming through in stacking Nakamotos together. All right, let's have a look at what I'm talking about. Let's look up Pinkman. I don't have his prize money here, but he's absolutely outrageous. 765 races, 179 wins at 23.4%. There is no doubt that this is one of the best bred horses in the game. And if we click in here, and you'll see this pattern. All I want to do is just run through quickly the pattern that you will see when stacking knacks. Okay, now it's not something that happens all the time, okay, but given that these high quality races are among probably the, let's say if we take the top 10 bred horse races, the most successful bred horse races, let's take the top 10 of those. Excuse me a second. I would suggest that somewhere between 70, 80, maybe even 90% of those are stacked Nakamotos. So whether it be the best breeding practice, or whether it just seems to be the most obvious breeding practice, or the breeding practice that currently works the best, stacking these Nakamotos seems to work. So if you look at Pinkman, you've got Scrooge McDuck on one side, which I just sold this week actually, so good luck to the new owner. That seems to be a horse that has some incredible bloodlines and has produced. Let's click on him and have a look at his bloodlines here. First of all, Scrooge, you will notice, is an exclusive Nakamoto Z3, and he was bred from the very famous Billions and Lovely Witch. Now, I know Lovely Witch because she's in my stable, and she is also a Nakamoto. If we just quickly click on that too, you will see Lovely Witch is a Z2 Legendary Nakamoto from Wall Street, one of my stallions, and Chase Jackson. So on the Scrooge side, we've got nothing but Nakamoto blood, which makes sense because you can only produce Nakamotos from pure Nakamotos. So on the Scrooge side, you've got 3 Z1s stacked together. Billions, Wall Street, Chase Jackson. Kenny, absolutely, we've only got a limited sample, but this pattern is so so strong in the limited sample that I think it's worth exploring even further. Yeah, absolutely. Most offspring are Nakamotos, given we're in. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. But it doesn't take away from the pattern at all. I would be more interested, Kenny, if you could show me 3 or 4 non-Nakamoto performers that are doing really, really well or as doing well as these guys are. Okay? And then we could explore, then we could absolutely explore on a more scientific type level to see what makes those up and see if there's a particular pattern in there as well. But at the moment, this is a really strong pattern. It doesn't mean that there isn't other patterns. Absolutely, there will be. And potentially you might get even stronger horses by finally breeding a Nakamoto breed line with a really carefully bred Zabo breed line or Buterin breed line or something like that and bringing them across together. That's one of Zed Gazette's, well, not exactly one of Zed Gazette's theories, but he has a theory and he's very knowledgeable and he's definitely worth listening to, whereby you bring down 2 breed lines and you cross them over at the crossbreed, potentially. That could be a thing too. I haven't seen any proof of that to back that up yet, but this one has proof to back it up. This particular pattern definitely has proof. So Scroogey, 3 Nakamotos in there, bloodlines, and if we go to the other side, Cryptonaut. No, I haven't, Lucky Jack. I haven't come across any other stacks as yet. That I mean, I'm only really keeping my eye out for horses that are really, really successful. And it just so happens when I look at the successful horses that they all have the same stacked breeding line. So I'm sure you can stack Zabos as well. And I'm sure you can stack Finnies and Buterins in the same way. What may well be an advantage of stacking Nakamotos though, if the Z number is important in efficient breeding, right? And what I mean by that is maybe it's easier to breed a Z1 with a Z1 than it is to get down to even a stacked Nak at Z10 to Z1 might be less efficient. In which case, if that Z number is important to the efficiency of breeding, you'll find that when you start stacking Buterins, 8 on top of 8 on top of 8 on top of 8 on top of 8, and you get to, you know, a Z whatever it happens to be, 64 or something like that, then you might start running into efficiency problems that you don't encounter so early in the Nakamoto breed line because of the fact that you can keep stacking 1 on top of 1 on top of 1 on top of 1 on top of 1. Maybe. Okay. So if we look here at Cryptonaut, you can see she's a pretty good horse in her own right, but then as we come across to her bloodlines, what's she got there? Mercury Rising. Is that a Z2 Genesis? Yes, it is. Okay. And then on the other side, Glorious Hero. A Z2 Genesis. Okay. So within, if we come back here now to Pinkman, we come back here now to Pinkman, he's got 5 different Nakamotos stacked into his genetics. He's got 3 Z1s and 2 Z2s. Okay, and that's the pattern that we're kind of seeing. That's the pattern that we're kind of seeing. If we go to, let's go to another one. Let's go to BB's Queen. I haven't had a good look at Queen before, and I haven't had a great look at Atari before on YouTube. So I have looked at Pinkman. So we got Queen here. Last time I did this video, I wasn't aware of Queen, but BB made me very aware of Queen, and I probably should have been. It's one of the better horses in the game and a very good paid racer. Have we got any solid proof that Z50 don't compete with? No, I'm not sure. Look, honestly, I'm 100, well, I'm not 100%. I'm really strong on the fact that Z50s or even Z100s can absolutely compete and be the next champions of the future in 2 or 3 years. What my current hunch is that, though, on that, is that once you get into the higher Z numbers, the breeding efficiency might drop off. Okay, so when you're dealing with maybe Z8s and 9s in stacked Nakamotos, you might still have a fairly high chance of producing the next champion down the line, or pushing that breed, or extending that breed line down the line and getting something really, really good. Like, for example, we got with Insane Mirage into Stargirl. So Insane Mirage is a real talent, and then Stargirl, which was the only breed that we've tried with Starman, was a real talent as well. So what I'm thinking is, once you get into the higher numbers, the 50s or 100s, you might be dealing with, 1 in 10 or 1 in 20 shots to really get a champion. So in which case, that would again enhance the importance of breeding with Z1s, because you can stack without increasing those numbers dramatically. Whereas Buterans, you do 3 stacks and you're out to 24 or 30 already. So that could be the case. Okay, so Queen, don't make a liar of me. Oh no, she is a Nakamoto, there you go. Nakamoto exclusive. We can see on one side of Queen she's got multiple ambush, all right? And then on the other side she's got 2 Z1s. I can tell that because she's only an exclusive level. And this guy's a legendary. So she's got Excalibur and Proud Delight. Proud Delight looks like an absolute weapon. Absolute weapon. Excalibur is a really consistent horse. So you're getting some mixed blood there, with Excalibur being a really consistent horse and then Proud Delight being a true champion, a true winner. And then on the other side here, multiple ambushes somewhere in the middle, 6.25%. Not looking like a standout. But again, stacked Naks, this time 3 Z1s coming together to produce something good. Now, there are stacked Naks that are no good out there, absolutely. But there's also some real success coming through. Let's race through a few more here. Let's have a look at Atar. Well, Atar, or is it Atari Doofy? This thing's rather special. Love the green colour. Doofy will probably sell this one to you if you're lucky. This one has been pushed a little bit further. No, Pinkman's an elite as well. Pinkman's an elite. Queen was an exclusive. And Atar, or Atari, if you like, is an elite as well. So these guys, Pinkman and Atari, we'll just call him Atari for now. Pinkman and Atari have gone beyond the exclusive level. So how efficient you can still stack them, I'm not too sure. And I'll talk about that. Hold on till the end of the video, and I'll talk about how you stack exclusives and Genesis together to keep stacking up the DNA of these horses. Whether that's beneficial or not is hard to tell. Atari has got look, the 2 parents, to be honest, are not outstanding. Breathless ID and James Tedesco, Teddy, not outstanding, but has produced an outstanding offspring. And if we go back and have a look, you can see we have some serious stacking going on here. You've got Sabre, talented Z1. Yeah, Doofy's saying that Atari hasn't had too much success yet, but he's going to try and stack another Z1 in there. I think you'll have some success with that. And then you've got S&M. So on this side, you've already got 1 Z1, and then you've got Breathless Edge, one of the best in the game, but not producing direct offspring or talented direct offspring at this point. Me and my brother are going to try and crack that, but not too much success just yet. And then Boiling Religion. Okay, so this side of the bloodline has 3 Z1s on Atari. And the other side, I think, has 3 as well. Breathless Edge. Oh, no. Oh, interesting, Doofy. Interesting what you've done here. I did know that, but I had forgotten. So Breathless Edge is on both sides of the family tree, coming down to mix together at Atari level. Okay, and Evolution ID is also a very well-known horse. Do you still own Evolution Doofy, or is it sold? No, he sold it. He would have got a pretty penny for that one too, I'm sure. Beautiful horse. Evolution ID, Z2 Genesis, Breathless Edge, Z1 Nakamoto. He gives me a wink. Yeah, he's done pretty well out of that, I'm sure. Doofy has a nice balance. I just can't sell my good horses. And I was speaking to my brother just yesterday saying we got to be a bit more balanced like Doofy and make sure we sell, because I'm just getting this stable full of better and better horses, but it's not paying the bills, to be honest. So we've got to pay the bills. Got to pay the horse feed. Okay, so we got Breathless Edge on both sides. We will call it 4 stacked Z1s, even though you've got Breathless Edge in there twice. You've got Sabre, Breathless Edge 1, 2, and then Boiling Religion, and then also a Z2 Evolution ID. And it's produced a horse here in Atari, 304 races, 50 solid as you like, and a big paycheck on the prize money as well. These are paid races. We're not talking free races that are just skimming the stats. We are talking genuine paid races. All right, who else have we got? Let's take a look at Stargirl quickly, one of mine, or my brother's in fact, in my brother's stable. Not as much of a standout, but still fits the bill. 72 races, 22%. We put her on ice for a moment because I think she progressed up to Class 1 or at least Class 2 and was getting less and less competitive. So we put her on ice. But now with the races having more and more races and the guns being more and more diluted, or the races getting slightly weaker by that dilution, Stargirl can probably come back out and play at a high level again. If we click on her, you will see the same thing. She is an exclusive Nakamoto, and this exclusive level is really important with the fillies, and I'll show you why in a moment, because we can stack her again. And that's exactly what I'll be doing in the next upcoming breed. I've got Stargirl, Alabaster Lily, and a couple of other really good stackable horses that I can keep pushing in bloodlines like Insane Him, Grandeur, and Breathless Edge, for example. Those three would could make interesting stackable breeds. Okay, and if we look at this, her bloodline, we've got Starman on one side, so a Z1, 1. And then Insane Mirage is actually built from, or come from, 2 Z2s, 2 very talented Z2s, 2 of the best in the game. Mirage, 13.74%. You might think, oh, it's not elite, but Mirage races in all the paid races. So 13, nearly 14% in paid races is exceptional. And then, of course, you've got Insane Him, who has proven himself over many, many races. How many races he got? Maybe 400 yet? 327. He's also just recently been put on ice because of the fact that the paid races are getting so strong that it was really knocking into his profitability. So I've put him on ice, and I think he'll come back out relatively soon. You really have to watch and pick the races where the odds are, where the race is going to be in your favour. You know, if you're putting a horse in at 15 or 14 or 13 to 1 and just crossing your fingers, you're really having a punt. Whereas if you're putting in a horse that's really, really strong, a really, really strong 8 to 1 like Breathless Edge, or, you know, a really, really strong 9 like him when he's got a race in his favour, then you're really going to be profitable. But you need to know where that line is, and I guess that we have an advantage, some of the early movers, of having a lot of horses, so we can afford to rest some, which is a real advantage in profitability, and also the statistics of these races, being able to maintain those without doing severe damage. Now the interesting thing about Insane Him is, look at he's a really good breeder. You've got 22, 9%. They're both twinsies, doubles up. We need to fix that. Then Little Big Fish is at 23%. Couple of duds in there. Patrician, not bad. This one's not great. Couple more duds. I did some really dodgy breeding, to be honest. Mother of God's not too bad. Insane Bark. You know, you can see some really good numbers in here. So Insane is going to be something that we really want to use to stack up. And if bred correctly, I think we're going to get some really good success out of this guy. Same with all those other horses that make up those other stacked knacks. I think there's going to be some really good ones in there as well. All right, so Star Girl, another stacked knack doing very well. Let's have a look at one more, Alabaster Lily, just quickly because she fits the bill perfectly. $148 races, 15.32. She has come into her own in the last 2 weeks with all these races coming in. She's been winning at a really, really high rate, probably closer to 20%, 18, 20%. And she's taken that win percentage from about high 13s up to 15s and a halves here, just through those fields getting more diluted. So if you had horses that you've put on ice, it might be time to bring them out again, because those class 3s and class 4s, and even class 2s actually, are somewhat a little bit weaker than what they were before. All right, if we look at Alabaster, I think she's stacked 4 Z1s. Flushing Unrest looks to be a talent in itself. Four-Legged Pride, 2 Z1s on that side. Yes, absolutely. Other side. In a big way, talented itself, and blink and you'll miss it, 2 more Z1s. So there you go. The theory is really, really strong. Absolutely, really, really strong. I've got a question here, so I'll answer that before we move along. Yeah, there's a couple of good Z10 breeds. Am I right in thinking that Brutus is a Z10 breed? Or a Z10 something or other? Whoops, wrong one. Z12. Brutus, he's a legendary. So there's an example of a horse that hasn't been stacked as such yet. I wouldn't consider a legendary a stack because it's the first generation of breeding. It's the first down the line. But if you take Brutus and stack a few more Z1s onto him, or even try stacking a few talented Z10s, what's going to happen? We don't know. I think the theory is not so much a Z1 theory, it's a stackable theory in general. So I think you can pretty much stack anything. It's just, as I said earlier in the video, it just comes down to the importance of how important do those Z numbers play in the breeding efficiency or the stackability of horses. Is it easier to get a result from stacking Z1s because the Z number doesn't get too high too quick? Or is it just as easy to stack Z10s when you stack them, they go Z20, 30, 40, 50. So by the time you stack 10, you're at 100. Is that a problem? I don't think it's a problem as in Z100s can't compete, but I think it might be a problem in the breeding efficiency. By the time you get to Z90, crossing over to Z100, maybe you have to try 50 breeds before you get that next down the line. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, well, yeah, Zed Gazette. Shout out to Zed Gazette, actually. Look his site up. Google Zed Gazette. He's got some incredible information over there. And he's always doing a lot of work with the community, as is Lucky Jack and Doofy, and probably many more of you as well. We're building an incredible community. And I would encourage you, just on a side note, take a look at the guys that have been here for a while and what they're doing for the community, and try and follow in those footsteps. That's how a really strong community is built. Okay, you know, we are competitive. The top stables are competitive, but we do also share. Okay, so keep that in mind. There's plenty of room for all of us. There's plenty of room for all of us if you're good enough. Hey guys, we've got 27 concurrent viewers online right at this moment and 5 likes. Come on, give me a bit of love. Did you not enjoy what we're talking about? We're going to talk a little bit more about it, but 5 likes. Come on, give me some love. And if you're not already subscribed, I would much appreciate it in building up this channel because it is helping. I get a lot of messages from people saying, dude, I discovered Zed Run because of your videos on YouTube. So, you know, if we can get more subscribers, more likes, more views, it will get out to the greater community and it will get more viral, more money for our bred horses and Genesis horses, guys. Look at this, we're on fire, up to 12. Let's go, let's go. 12 likes, 31 viewers. Let's do it. If we can get to like 20, that would be awesome. What are you waiting for? All right, enough of that flogging my own horse there. Okay, so there's one other horse that I want to touch on because it's interesting. A lot of the horses that I've been through now have got talent in their back pool of genes, okay? Now, I haven't looked at this horse, the Faith of Seven, for a little while, but she didn't have much talent in the back pool. Let's bring on the hype. Doofy, mate, Doofy, what you're doing for this game is just phenomenal. Don't burn yourself out, champion. I know it's exciting, but save some energy as well for the long haul. You're doing some incredible work across the community and helping a lot of people get into this game and get horses, so that's amazing. If you're watching this right now and you're wanting to get yourself a horse, Doofy's one of the best brokers out there, and also Lucky Jack. So contact these guys via Discord. Say, hey guys, this is what I'm looking for. Can you help me out? You got some of the best eyes in the game on the search for you. So that'd be pretty epic. I might need to employ these guys to get me some. No, I don't need any more races actually. I'm addicted. I just need more and more and more and more. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? If you've got your first horse, it's never enough. It's never enough. Let's look up the Faith of Seven. You might know, Follow the Faith. Does it not? Maybe it's just called Faith of Seven, is it? I don't even know my own horse. There she is. Now, we called her 270. Look at this, 14%. She's another one that's really been benefiting from all the new races. If you've got a horse that's borderline paid racing, put them in now, because she's come good. I didn't think she was that good. She fits this bill among those horses reasonably well. Now, she's in a level 7 exclusive, so she's got, I know, and she might be one of the only ones, she's got 7 Z1s stacked on top of each other, because this is how early this theory is for me. I saw Winchester. Those of you that have been around for a while will know Winchester was a dominant horse back before the reset. And Winchester was a stacked knack as well. And I thought, well, if it's good enough for is it PJH Stables? I think it is. If it's good enough for him, then I'll give this a shot. I thought the game was so easy. I was like, if I just stack my knacks, if I just stack, and I did this one blind, as in I didn't race anything in between. I just went stack knack, stack knack, stack knack, stack knack. Spent about $1,000 or $2,000 in the day. Doofy knows what this is about, drunk breeding on a theory. And to be honest, before the reset she wasn't that good, but after the reset she's been rejigged and she's pretty good. So if we have a look at her, she's a great example of stacking knacks like down the line. You've got an 8 going on 800. I don't understand what you mean, mint condition. Are you talking about 800 races? Is that 800 races? So if we have a look here, let's look back at Faith. I mean, she's going to be, when the new breeding opens, maybe the Z1s are going to be half an ETH to breed with. We don't know. And the Z10s might be relatively cheap, like down around 0.05 or something like that. Stay mint. I don't even know what, I've lost the train of thought there, what you're talking about, Lucky Jack. But Faith of 7 stack knacks. And what I was saying was that Z1s might be half an ETH to breed. So she could be 3.5 Ethereum in just pure breeding costs to get 7 knacks stacked on top of each other, if you know what I mean. So she might be quite valuable, even though she's not quite an elite racer. She's a profitable paid racer. But if we can stack some really good blood, because at the moment she's a stack of fairly ordinary blood, I think, but if we can stack some really good blood, we might be able to get something. Who knows? If we stack in a Breathless or Insane Him or Grandeur, or, you know, I maybe get a Phantom Pacer or something like that, which is a real talent as well. No, Biob, we don't know. We don't know the new prices of breeding. Well, I haven't been aware of the new prices of breeding. Back before the reset, or when breeding was viable or available, Z1s were 0.09 minimum. So roughly a tenth of an Ethereum. Razball, how are you? Oh, the new price is out. Okay. There you go. I'm not aware of that, guys. I haven't seen it. So Z1s are 0.05? Surely not, are they? That's cheaper than they were before. Someone give me a shout out what the new Z1 price is. Yeah, okay. The minimums are 0.075. What's the Z? Is that Z1 or is that Z10? I'll have to look that up after. If someone in the know knows exactly what Z1s are, give me a shout. I'd be interested. Breaking news. Live breaking news. All right, so let's have a quick look at this stacked horse and see if we can find any talent back there. So Firestorm is terrible, a terrible bred horse, not producing any. You can see 25 races and 2/3. So that's not a good horse. And when we look back at Faith of 7, you've got Jon Snow here, which is not a good Z1 either. Well, most Z1s are pretty good, but not really showing much as you go there. But yet they have produced something decent. So all those people out there, and I'm one of them. I've sold a lot of my iffy Z1s. Buying those cheaper Z1s without the win rate. There's some hope there for sure. Oh, Z1 equals 0.08775. Very low, very cheap. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. Okay. But there you go. It's going to be an interesting dynamic of when I put Breathless Edge in. Do I try and put him in for 0.08775 and try and snap up all 7 breeds in 20-30 seconds? Or do I take a slightly different approach and put him in for, 0.4 of an ETH, which I guess might rule out 80% of the competition trying to grab that and would give me more of a chance of getting 7 without losing one. Okay, we'll get some clarity on that in a moment, but John seems like we got some pretty specific figures here, so we'll go with that for the time being, roughly 0.09. So the point being, the last 2 horses that bred Faith of 7 are not good. But let's go back further and see if we can find something good, or is it just that she's pulled a combination of all these genes from these different Z1s? That's a possibility too. So if we go back, you can see we've got Category 5, again, not great. Well, actually, let's go to Green Arcadia first. Absolutely, Jacuzzi, people are going to try and snipe my horses, but I've got some tactics to get them in and out of breeding within 15 to 20 seconds. So it could happen, but look, unless you're actually in breeding and see Breathless Edge pop in, or the other thing that can happen is a breeding can fail. We get a bug and I don't get any breeds, and then it just comes down to whenever breeding comes back online, some lucky buggers get all 7 of Breathless Edge, if you know what I mean. So it's really, really interesting how that's going to work. So Green Arcadia, look, again, it's only had 10 runs, but it's got some promising results. But I think with only 10 runs and AAA being a very knowledgeable stable, knowing what's going on, this is probably not the greatest Z1 either. And then you got Cat 5, Category 5. I enjoyed naming these horses when I was making them because she's a stack 5, so Category 5, and then you've got Faith of the 7, which is a 7. All right, I doubt there's a 888 left when we push Faith of 7 down, but I'll have to think of a nice cool 8 number. Yeah, so Category 5, 3 races, and has been sold on. I think she sold really, really cheaply, so Eccles here has probably got something really, really good, even though not the best racer, if you know what I mean. And then again, if you look here, on this side, keep in mind we're only looking down one side of the genetic pathway, because on the other side it is a Z1 because it's stacked 1 on top of 1 on top of 1. So always the male will only be a Z1. So again, AAA is not the most talented Z1. So as we're going back through this, you can see, we're not stacking supreme talent, which is really, really interesting, and we're still getting a reasonably good racer at this early level. So what are we going to get when we stack Grandeur and Breathless Edge and Phantom Pacer and Insane Him and all these absolute guns on top of each other? What are we going to get then? Who knows, right? Who knows? And what's this one? Twister. 116 races, 3% win rate. So we're really struggling, right? We're really struggling to find any talent. Even Better with Bacon. Used to be Better Before the Reset. That's what this horse should be called. Not Better with Bacon. Better Before the Reset, because it was a really, really good horse before the reset. And now it's okay. It's okay. A good place rating. But it's not an elite, okay? But maybe these good place ratings, maybe their place within the breeding genetics is that they're great at breeding winning horses, and maybe something like Breathless Edge is a great winner, but not the best sire. Tornado, has it had any runs? No runs, maybe it's okay. And then again, look at this, Striker. It's been pulled up and retired. Oh, it's only had the one run, so it's hard to see whether Striker's any good. It's really, really interesting and really exciting, isn't it? Oh, where did I go? Twister. Tornado, that was Tornado. Striker, not so good. Unstoppable, and this is the last. We'll have 2 stacked ones here. And, we don't know. We don't know what they're like. So, Faith of 7. Faith of 7. Oh, good stuff, Doofy. Good stuff, Doofy. Thanks for clarifying that. Okay. 0.2, almost a quarter of an ETH. So what's that? $500. So that's enough to sort of discourage a few people. If you see Grandeur in there at quarter of an ETH, or Breathless Edge at quarter of an ETH, or Insane Him at quarter of an ETH, I would suggest you grab that bloodline if you can, because I will only be putting those guys in unless we have private breeding, or I'll be snapping them up with 7 mares lined up ready to go as quick as I can. Okay, so an interesting theory. I mean, the earlier ones in, we had Atari, we had, who else did we have in there? Atari, we had Pinkman, we had Stargirl, Queen, Alabaster Lily. They have some genetics behind them that are pretty strong, but then we have Faith of 7 that looks to have been derived from some relatively average genes. Okay, so interesting stuff. That's about all I got. This morning. But I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll hang around here for another 5 or so minutes to answer any questions. Razball, is that a question? Ran Philly, Z2, weaker field, pulled 15-1 odds, not great. I don't know, Razball. I've been selling a lot of those iffy Z1s and Z1s and 2s, but I think I might start to keep them, because that's all right. Austin, you can jump back and start the stream from the beginning if you like. I think this was a really, really important stream that most people need to watch. Give me a few more likes, guys. We're at 18 likes, 36 viewers. Surely we can get that over 20. If you haven't subscribed, do it for Zed Run. We need to try and get some credibility in the YouTube channels. Subscribe here, jump over and subscribe to Doofy Racing YouTube, subscribe to Beaver YouTube, and if you see any others, just hit the subscribe button as part of helping the community grow. Okay, we're all community based at the moment, and it's still very, very small. We mostly know each other, so give that a shot. Give me a like. We go over 20, 22. Thank you very much. I much appreciate that. Fave episode, thanks Lucky Jack. Let's have you on soon, guys. So make sure you subscribe. I'm going to have Doofy Racing and we're going to have Lucky Jack. We might have them both on. We might grab Zed Run J, and we might grab Drew, if they'll all come on. And we'll do a combo Skype or something like that with all their beautiful faces. And we'll see if we can't break the live stream somehow. I'm sure I'll forget to put the microphones on or do something or other. It will take me, I'll need to figure out how to run it through my sound desk here, but I can manage that. Kenny, with breeding closed, updated breeding price, shouldn't we be careful about trying? Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, there's going to be some bigger stables like myself and Doofy and maybe Lucky Jack and maybe some others that are going to do some weird, crazy stuff with breeding. And we're going to break new ground. And the benefit of that is we're going to have the next generation of Pinkmans before anyone else, potentially. So there is some risks involved in wasting some money, absolutely. But there's also some benefits, I suppose, as well. You are going to get some pretty interesting races, I would think. Particularly in breeding. I feel like breeding Nakamotos might be I know the Zed Run guys said that breeding Buterans might be easier to produce races, but yeah, Nakamotos look like they're producing some pretty good results as well. Pamponomics is like getting a dog Nakamoto still worth it for breeding. I think we just proved that it can be with Faith of 7. She doesn't look like she's got much in there as far as really strong genetics. But if these horses are on some level able to pull down the best genetics from, maybe several generations back, you've got so many Z1s that you can say, oh, we'll grab the speed from here and we'll grab the consistency from here and we'll grab this from here. If it becomes just a sort of a cauldron of a mix of these genes and you're able to pull down from many, many generations back, then yeah, absolutely. Horses like Faith of 7 are going to become particularly valuable because of the fact that they're a quarter of an ETH. She's got 7 quarters of an ETH. What's that? It's nearly 2 Ethereum just in pure breeding costs right there. Thanks for the like and subscribe, James. That's really, I'm really, really thankful and really grateful that you did that. Hit the buttons, says Parachain Park, Austin. Nice, mate. Yeah, if you can find people cashing out and selling horses at drop price in the last 2 days, there's a few, I guess, older generation races that are not really active in the racing and breeding that have bags of horses that when they see the liquidity and the current prices are saying, right, time to cash in half of these, or even I've seen people cash in all of them, and you can get. I haven't had any this round, but last round I got several Z1s at on or under market price, which was a bargain. Parachain Park, I want to offer studs for full fees refunded, so mare owners send. Oh yeah, there's a lot of us doing that. Yeah, 50-50 split. We just do 50-50. I've done that with Doofy. I'll do that with any of the. Well, if you've got a good enough horse, I will do that. I'm lining up breeds, for example, or I'm trying to line up breeds with Breathless Edge with horses of the caliber of Ducky Malone, Doofy. Hey, let's talk. Alloy, Murphy is the stable owner there. Bermuda Triangle, apologies, I forget the owner of Bermuda Triangle stable, but a super premium talented horse. I'd love to get a breed with Baroque. Good Boy Stables, if you're watching, give me a call. Let's set that up. That would be something special. We can do a 50-50 there. Yeah, there's a few others in there as well. Really special, talented mares that I'd like to line up and get that bloodline started. And it's mutually beneficial for both stables because I get the bloodline, you get the bloodline, and we can bring them down separately and then even cross them back over at some point. Big and Tall, I already know about Big and Tall, Austin. I was looking her up yesterday. She does look rather good. No, I'm going to give you guys all a little tip here. You don't save money if you send me your mare for me to breed in-house because well, I don't know the new figures, but the in-house breeding discount was 35%, but the stud commission is 45%. So the fee to breed is actually less if you do it outside and then do a 50-50 split. You understand what I'm talking about? Because the commission is 45%. So as long as your stud owner calculates using that 45 commission as part of the overall 50-50 split, you will get it slightly cheaper from stable to stable as opposed to doing it in-house. Okay, so same discount. Doofy's just confirmed that it's the same. So it's exactly the same breeding, a 50-50 split out of house as it is in-house. So look, to be honest, I think the best way to make sure that your studs, your premium studs, are not getting taken is to try and line up the breeds beforehand, have a conference call and say, right guys, I'm ready to breed now, Breathless Edges in, grab your two as quick as you can before they get taken. So line up a whole bunch of studs, and if you're doing it yourself, I've got myself and my brother, so at least we can do, 3 or 4 breeds each to try and get them as quickly as we possibly can. Even potentially across multiple wallets, using slightly faster gas fees to get them through and get them done. Oh, hang on. So Doofy said that the same 35% discount of in-house is applicable, but the commission went from 48% to 56%. I guess that's over the 7-day spread. Okay, so there's a significant little hack, and this might change the hack, to be honest, because once everyone's doing it, they might change that. And no gas, brilliant. But if you're breeding cross stables, of course your stud might be getting 56%, and by the time you account for that, you're going to get a slightly different, slightly cheaper breed than if you send your mare to the stud. I know there's a few guys that not as supportive getting around out there. So come on, if you can, hit the like button, or hit the dislike button if you don't like me. That's fine too. It's all good for the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button for more. We're going to have some good stuff coming up. Doofy, Lucky Jack, hopefully we'll get those guys on and a few others in the coming times. It looks like we've got a internet issue. Hopefully it's still coming through loud and clear, but that'll do me, guys. Thanks for having me, and we'll see you in the coming days. See ya.